Testing. Alright, what about now? Should be working. Excellent. Alright, so if y'all have been here before, you know the drill. I've got stuff pulled up for both the assignment that is due tomorrow and the assignment that is due next Monday. So if you have any questions about it, just shoot me something in the chat here on the YouTube live stream about what step you want me to go over, and I can go over it for you. For those of you that are in the GroupMe chat as well, you can DM me on GroupMe, all that jazz. I think it's step 2. I can't get my review to come up. Let's see. Step 2 would be the one about creating the line chart. That what you need? Okay. So as you can see, it's over here on this sheet. So I'll basically explain to you what happened to make it the way that it is. So actually, perhaps it's better if I download a fresh copy of this. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, cool. Alright, so that should be up now. Alright, so here's what you do. So we're creating a line chart based on the total advertising expenses of the period. So what you're going to do is you're going to select this area right here, this stuff about your totals. You'll go to the Insert tab. You'll hit I like to hit recommended charts just so I can see all the charts at once. So you hit recommended charts and then you switch to all charts. And then they want a line with the subtype being line. It's important that you don't select something like stacked line or line with markers or something like that. You just want regular old line. And then there's a couple things you have to do. So you want to go and select your data. Sometimes what'll happen with this legend entry series here is that it'll automatically name it total because you know the total little name tag over here. So you might want to get rid of that by going into here and getting rid of a series name if there is one. And then you want the axis labels to be the months of the year. So currently they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just hit edit and then you select the months of the year and then you hit OK and then they're in there. And then the other thing you have to do is you have to set the vertical minimum to 26,000. And so the way you do that is you double click this vertical axis right here, or you click it once and then you right click it and you hit format axis or whatever you want to do, and you'll get this box right here with your axis options, and then you'll want to change the minimum bound to 26,000. And so everything's set up as it needs to be right now. The only thing you have to do is rename the title. I don't remember what the title is. I think it's like total advertising expenses per month or something like that. Might be wrong. And then you want to change the chart style, so you come up here to chart styles and it says it wants style 12, so select style 12, and then it wants it in its own sheet. So over here in chart tools and design, you see this option that says move chart. You click it, and then you want it to go to a new sheet, and I believe the sheet name is advertising per month. And then, as you can see, it comes over here to its own advertising sheet. It also wants it to be to the right, so you need to just pick up this sheet by clicking and holding, and then just dragging it over, and there you go. My voice is echoing. How so? Anyway, Kevin, that's the end of that step for filling in the line chart. Does that answer your question? Whenever I put the 26,000 into the vertical axis bound, it squishes the line to the end of the chart. What do you mean it squishes the line to the end of the chart? Can you show me a picture? Like, send a link to a picture or something like that? Oh, cool. Looks like my webcam is working now. Awesome. Oh, and I see that. Made a small mistake. It's fine now. Sorry. Excellent. So yeah, if you guys don't know how this works, I just kind of sit here for an hour and I answer any questions that I get, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Step 3. Uh, yeah. So I will just go ahead and undo a couple of things here. No. Okay, so Heath, you want me to do step 3. So that requires the table already being made. So I'm gonna, or the chart, I mean, already being made. So I assume you know what's going on there. So you've got a 2D line, and so step 3 is renaming the thing. So all you got to do is click in this chart title area, and then you see that you get the like little word processor symbol here. So you can do that, and then you just type total advertising expenses per goodness gracious, I have made an error. There we go. Per month, and I've spelled it wrong. Yeah, so that's how you rename the title, and then you also have to set the axis minimum. So you're gonna right click, you're gonna mouse over this axis right here. You got it selected, so you're gonna right click it, and then you say format axis. And so you see over here you've got axis options, bounds, and then you just set the minimum bound here to 26,000. Oh, whoops, I set it to 260,000. 26,000. So there you can see that it's set there. Also, we need to change the these horizontal labels so that they actually reflect the months. Whoops. And so we edit this. We open up the select data source. We go to horizontal axis labels, edit, and then select the months over here. Okay. And then you said change the style. So in chart tools and design, you've got these chart styles here. So we're going to click this drag down, and then we see here that it says style 12 if I mouse over it for long enough. And then we click it, and then that's all of step 3. Does that answer your question, Heath? Excellent. Great. Fantastic. Oh, also, if you haven't noticed yet, there's a bit of a stream delay, about 5, maybe 7 seconds, so I apologize for that. Not really anything I can do. Going over step 7 would help. I don't know what it means by data callouts. Okay. So, step 7. Okay, so it wants you to make a 3D pie chart. So let me prepare that based on, let's see, 3D pie chart prepared based on A16 to B22. So we go ahead and select this, and then insert a 3D pie chart, and then I'm not gonna, okay, so then we want to say, I'm not gonna bother renaming the chart because y'all know how to do that. And then it wants style 8, which is this one. And then, okay, data callouts. Okay, so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna see here how in this design you've got add chart elements. There should be under data labels. Yeah, under data labels, you've got this option that says data callout. And you want to call out the so you've set that data call out, right? And that's all there is to it. So you see here how it's got these little searching thingies that say this piece represents banquet facilities, and it's 28%. That's what data callouts are. Now to explode the segment that was allocated the smallest amount. So that's obviously exercise facility. So it's kind of picky. I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna make this bigger so that it gets a little bit easier. But we're gonna kind of try and keep selecting this until you see that we only get these dots around this particular slice. See how there's these 3 dots around this slice, but nowhere else. So we're gonna just again, it's kind of picky, but we're gonna just pull it out. But that's what it is when it says slightly explode, is, of course, you know I can't do it when I'm on camera trying to friggin' do it, but that's what, here we go. So it keeps auto-selecting this banquet facilities one, which it shouldn't be. There we go. So you can see here, you can pull it out using like pull-out tools, but it's easier under like the formatting of the data point. See the series options, you've got point explosion over here. So you can just pull this out, not that much, but like, you know, like 40%, and you can see that it comes out from the rest of the pie chart. And then it wants you to format the chart as a whole. So what we're going to do is we're going to go chart options, and in property, or hold on, I'll find it. Ah, here it is. So in chart options, you've got this 3D rotation thing right here, and it wants an X rotation of 20 degrees. It wants a Y rotation of 40 degrees, and a perspective of 10. So there you go. And then it says change the top bevel to a relaxed inset. So you can see here under 3D format, we've got our bevels. And so we just select here, and then we just, I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, so here's relaxed inset. Just mouse over to make sure that's the one. And then you hit it, and there you go. Is 10% too much? Is 10% too much for the explosion? No, not at all. I used like 40% or something like that. And I don't think Pearson is really picky about what you use, like, at all, just as long as it's something. But that's how step 7 works. Does that answer your question, Evan? Awesome. Come on, close. There we go. can we go back over the rotation? The 3D rotation? Yes, we can. Okay. So, what's going on here is, so we click here, and right, so I'll just get rid of this so that it makes sense. So we double click on the chart, just the whole thing, not anything in particular. And what you'll do is you'll get this box open, right? And so you see this little shape symbol here, it says effects, click on it. And then, so we've got all these different things, right? So the ones that we're concerned with are 3D format and 3D rotation. So 3D rotation, the assignment tells you what the values that it wants for each rotation are here. So it wants the 20-degree X rotation, the 40-degree Y rotation, and the 10-degree perspective. And then, so once you've got that set up, so just, I can reset it. Or I guess I can't, but like, it was 10 and 30 with a perspective of 15, if I remember correctly. So you can see that when I increase the X rotation like this, and the Y rotation like this, and then decrease the perspective like this, you can see how it's different from what it previously was. No problem. Just a reminder, we can go over the Chapter 5, Problem 1, if you want, because that is what's going to be due, I think it's October 8th. we go over problem number 6 for chapter 5? Yeah. So let me just check which one that is. So in cell I-10, enter a VLOOKUP function that will convert the satisfaction rating to a grade found in the second column of the grade scale named range. The formula is not looking for an exact match. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up this. So you can see that I've already done some formatting here because of what the assignment calls for, but you can still see what the formula looks like. So if you guys didn't know, there's this little insert function button here, but when you've already put a function in, you can get it, and you'll get the dialog box for the function, which is super convenient because it helps you find out where your error is. So remember, what the question asks for is that it's based on satisfaction rating, and so since you've already made this into a table at this point, what'll end up happening is if you click on the first cell in the column for satisfaction rating, it'll give you this like at satisfaction rating thing, which is just how tables like to format how like each record works. It's not really relevant why this is the way that it is, but that's just because it wants you to base it on the satisfaction rating. It's kind of like a named range, but not quite. And then it wants you to return a value from the table array that is grade scale, which we named over here, and so you can see that it's over here, and it wants you to return a grade. And so since grades are in the second column, your column index number is 2. And then with range lookup, it's do you want an exact match or not? And so true means you want an approximate match, false says you want an exact match, and it will default to approximate match or true. So since it says that it doesn't want an exact match, you can just leave range lookup blank. And so you'll see here that the grade that this call gets is an F because their satisfaction rating is 3.7, and if we go over here to the report, not the report, the lists, you can see that the closest, that 3.7, it's deciding to round down to 0 for F. Meanwhile, grade, they got an 8, so they get a B. So if we look at this list, that's exactly on the nose, and it's the closest one, so it just gives it a B. So that's how step 7 on chapter 5 works. Does that answer your question, Green Chew? And Heath, which step 5, by the way? Step 5 for chapter 4 or step 5 for chapter 5? I actually just got step 5 for chapter 4 done. Okay, great. Step 8. Again, Heath, step 8 on chapter 4, step 8 on chapter 5. No worries. Okay, chapter 4, step 8. That is adding column sparklines. Okay, so let me get this chart out of the way. So we want to add column sparklines. And so it's important that you do it in this first cell first, and then we're going to drag it down. So, what kind of sparklines does it want? I forget. Hang on, it's in the list here. The chart the advertising expense by amenity type over the months January and June. Okay. Okay, so, if I remember correctly, it is, insert. So in insert, we've got this sparklines, and it wants you to chart the columns. And so your data range is here, and you want the sparklines to be placed. You want the sparkline to be placed here. You don't want the absolute reference, and you're going to see why in a second. Because when we drag this down, it gives you different sparklines. And so if we had left the absolute reference there, it would have just kept it the same. It would have been the same exact sparkline all the way down. So there you go. Hope that helps you out, Heath. Oh, and my bad. You have to change the color as well. So that's pretty easy. If I remember correctly, it's in here. See Sparkline Tools Design, and then dark blue, darker 50% right here, and then click on that, and then we're good to go. My pie chart seems to look the same as yours, but something is counted as incorrect. Kevin, could you tell me what specific error you're making? I can't pull up the review since I keep getting a too busy error, but I think it had something to do with style. Okay, well, first of all, make sure that your, hang on a second. Make sure that your, source data is the same as what's, here. So see that this is all set up. Make sure you're not including the total, thing, because, what happens if you do that is it thinks that the total is part of the pie chart instead of rather than being the sum. So you just want this part right here. Data callouts, so remember that's design, chart element, data labels, data callouts, and then you just hit your data callout, you're good to go. And then make sure that you have the rotation values right. So make sure that you have the rotation values right. It's 20, 40, and 10, I think. It's in the steps, so that may be incorrect, but just making sure. And then up here in 3D format, make sure your top bevel is relaxed inset rather than just none. And then make sure your chart actually has a title, unlike mine. And then for exploding the segment, I remember you saying earlier, is 10% too much? I would do like at least like 30 to 50%, because you can see that like 10% here, if we type in 10%, it's like barely noticeable. But if we type in like 50%, now we're cooking. So hopefully that gives you something to debug with. Oh yeah, and make sure that your, I almost forgot, make sure your actual chart style up here in chart tools, design, and all that, it's the chart styles, make sure that it's actually style 8, which is right here. So maybe like don't select style 7, obviously. Also, y'all, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am probably going to be ending at or around 9 o'clock, so if you do have any questions, probably best to come up with them before then, because Someone just texted me. They want me to go over getting months on the axis for step 2 and going over step 7 and 8. Okay, so I keep forgetting to mute my stream because I have it pulled up while I'm talking, and so my own talking gets overlaid. Okay, so step 2, adding the months. So you already know how to put the table in there, so I will go ahead and zoom through that real fast. So the way to add the months is just super simple. Under Chart Tools in Design, we've got this Select Data button. You see the horizontal axis labels, you hit Edit, and then we select January through June, and then boom, they're there. And then, so that's that. And then steps 7 and 8 are the 3D pie chart and the spark lines. Okay. Let me get rid of these spark lines. Or not, I guess. Can I please get rid of you? Like, I want to remove you. There we go. Okay. So, the 3D pie chart is based off of this information right here. It's in the step. So we say Insert. There's the pie button right here, and then 3D pie. And then I'm not going to go through the work of naming it because I'm lazy, and y'all know how to do that. So we want to go ahead and change it to style 8, which is right here. And then, so that's that. And then we add the data callouts by going to Chart Layouts in Design, Add Chart Element, Data Labels, Data Callout. You can see here that we've got the different names of the things and how much percents they're taking up. And so that's taken care of. And so then the next thing we want to do is we want to edit the rotation of the thing. So the way we do that is in Format Chart Area, under the Effects tab, there's 3D Format and 3D Rotation. So the X rotation is 20 degrees, the Y rotation is 40 degrees, and the perspective is 10 degrees. And then in 3D Format, it wants us to set the top bevel to relaxed inset. So that takes care of that. And then the last thing we do here is that it wants us to explode the smallest point, which is this one. So if we click on this one enough times, you see that only this point is selected. We go over to Series Options, and then we change the point explosion to some arbitrary percentage. I choose 50, and you see that it comes out a bit. So that's that. And now for adding spark lines, we come over here to H5. We go to Insert. There's a tab for spark lines, and it wants column spark lines. The data range is the spending over time, and then we don't want an absolute value, and you'll see why in a second. Because we want this to drag down properly. So we drag it down, and you'll see that here it is. And so if we hadn't gotten rid of that absolute value, it would have just been the same column spark line over and over again. And then we just change the style by selecting them, going up here to Sparkline Tools, Design, Style, and then it wants dark blue, accent 5, darker 50%. Click it, and then we're done. So somebody had texted me that they didn't see that when I talked about it earlier, so there's how to do all of that. Hope I answered everything. I'm busy. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. So, if y'all have any last questions for me, feel free to shoot them right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna close off. Alright, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and close off here. Uh, Thanks for stopping by, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.